name? 'Cause it sounds like a nickname or something. Okay, sure. Where are we going? Huh? Fine by Paimon, but is everything okay? Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. We spoke for a while over some tea. My pleasure.
Don't tell Paimon. There are other places you want to visit too, right? Your expression says it all. You can't hide anything from Paimon. On to the next stop. Lead the way, traveler. Paimon will be right behind you. We're here! This is the Yashiro Commission's headquarters, so...
Traveler! It's been a while. If you're looking for the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I'm afraid your timing is unfortunate. They're not here right now.
Are they out on business?
The Commissioner is out on business, and Miss Kamisato is standing in for some meetings in the Commissioner's place. If it's urgent, you're welcome to wait inside until they get back.
What do you think? Shall we go in?
If it were anyone else, I couldn't allow it. But seeing as you're so close with the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I think it should be okay.
We'll be heading in then. Thanks!
Hello, dears. Is there something you want to say? Of course, traveler. Yes, I know who you are. Miss Kamisato has told me about you. What would you like to know? Oh, they're both very well indeed. Lately, Miss Kamisato has been rather busy attending all kinds of meetings and occasionally paying visits to some local organizations on the Commissioner's behalf. As for the Commissioner himself, well, you know, busy as ever. That much hasn't changed. Although he does seem to be in a rather good mood these days.
So pretty much business as usual in the Yashiro Commission, huh?
Very much so.
Oh, are you two leaving already?
Yep, everything's taken care of now. Don't worry.
Very well. Safe travels.
Nahida, we're here! Traveler, Paimon, how have you been? Ugh, where to start? Paimon hasn't had a moment's rest this whole time. That night, we ended up chatting and chatting until suddenly the sun was up. And then she decided she wanted to go to Inazuma. The Balladeer? You look troubled. Is there something you need to tell me? Traveler? Hey, what's wrong? You look so upset. That's quite a story. So, this puppet known as the Balladeer erased himself from Irminsul, hoping that he could change the past. But how was he even able to do that? As the traveler said, he very nearly became Sumeru's deity. Admittedly, I remember it a little differently. I don't recall finding anyone inside the machine after we defeated it. Nevertheless, it does make sense. If someone were to successfully erase themselves from Irminsul, the world would change to reflect the new reality. So, you believe this person really existed, and we just don't remember him because... well, because he literally changed the world? Yes. Theoretically speaking, it is possible to do this. But I'm struggling to imagine the kind of person who would dare go through with it. The traveler comes from a world beyond Javat. That's why there's no information about her in Irminsul. And it also explains why any changes to Irminsul wouldn't affect her. So if there's anyone in the world capable of retaining memories from a past that has been rewritten, it's you. It's quite incredible when you think about it. Paimon's having a hard time understanding this Balladeer guy's motivations. Why did he do it? I can only make inferences based on the information we've been given. As for what kind of person he was, only you remember that. Something else worrying you? Something that you can't share? It couldn't change the fate of the ones who had died, right? Once the Balladeer realized he hadn't been betrayed after all, it must have completely changed his view of the people of Tatarasuna. Now he saw them as friends again. He couldn't keep hating humans after that. And if he thought there was a chance he could save his old friends, it would be hard not to try. The story makes sense. Every part of it. The Balladeer tried to achieve godhood with the doctor's help. He was unsuccessful, but retained the power to connect with Irminsul. That power then enabled him to change what was recorded in Irminsul and erase himself, even though he didn't have much strength left. Yeah, it does make sense, but it still ended in tragedy for his friends. It just feels so hopeless. He gave everything to do this, but it seems like he got nothing in return. Please wait a moment. I want to check something. Found it. This should be the one. It turns out that I have a strange way of confirming everything she has told us. What is it? A record from a personal collection. It was tucked away in a corner. You should take a look. Is this a fairy tale? Who wrote it? I authored this record myself. Huh? You wrote a fairy tale that somehow has something to do with the Balladeer? When combined with the traveler's narrative, it's clear that this story is an allegory. Everything in it is a symbol for something else. Hold on. So this record survived from the past? Yes. Any information about the Balladeer or the Kabukimono and other records will have been changed. But I wrote this story in a way that means it was left intact. Changing the information in Irminsul changes to that. But Irminsul can't change information that was well hidden in advance. I guess I must have written this story as a backup before the Balladeer entered Irminsul. That's incredible! What a great idea! And sending the Traveler into Irminsul with the Balladeer must have been a further precaution. I knew she'd remember everything. This story is abstract enough that it still resonates with the present information recorded in Irminsul. But if we connect all the different pieces together, the true story that emerges is the one she told us. The now erased life of the Balladeer. There was once a lone monster draped in fox fur. The monster found a family of foxes, joined them, and they became friends. The monster lived with the family day and night, and everyone treated it as one of their own. Once in a while, the monster would take off its fox fur at night and lament to itself as it gazed at its reflection in the water. I am a monstrosity, yet they are too foolish to see it. I pity them. But the monster soon found solace when another came to live among the foxes who was not their kin. A kitten, carved from the wood of a white tree, who had been abandoned by the humans. The kitten too wished to become a fox, but its tail was too slender, and it could not grow a coat of richly colored fur. Yet when the other foxes saw this, they spoke words of comfort to the kitten. Even without a tail and fur like ours, you are still one of us. Furious at this happy resolution, the monster lit a fire on the mountain. The terrified animals panicked as the fire spread. The only way to extinguish the flames was to make a sacrifice. A gray fox stood up and addressed the monster. It said, "You are the cleverest among us. Surely you can help us find a way to solve this." The monster smiled, led the fox toward the fire, and murdered it. The gray fox's heart was turned into a beautiful drop of water, clear, spotless, and pure. The monster gave the heart of water to the kitten, telling him, "The foxes have decided. You are the one who must be sacrificed. Take this, quench the flames, and die for your fox kin." The fire was extinguished, but the kitten lived. It left that side of the mountain and found a little bird who had a broken wing. The two promised they would spend their whole lives together, but the little bird did not have long left to live. It passed away soon after. After burying the bird, the kitten left the mountain for good. Never again would it cherish a single creature nor a single blade of grass that stood on that mountain. The kitten spent the nights wandering aimlessly, gnashing its teeth at the moon. How it wished to swallow the moon and devour the moonlight. If the world could only return to... I will become the new moon, the answer to everything. Then, no one will know that there were once birds, foxes, and cats in this world. And no one can know that they were different. We solved it! I remember now. This is not just the Balladeer story. It is his very own memories. I made a backup so that it would be preserved no matter what happened. To become a god, he was experimented on and modified countless times. It was brutal torture, and the only reason he was able to survive is that he was a puppet. This memory was extracted from him by the scholars. Presumably, they kept it to have something to defend themselves with. Creating a deity was just the first step. Some of them wanted to be able to control it. That's why they backed up his memory for later use. I buried it deep inside one of my own dreams, and then hid it inside an allegorical story so that it wouldn't be altered. It's hard to believe that this person really existed, let alone that he tried to get rid of us on more than one occasion. Paimon has no memory of him at all. He completely vanished like a puff of smoke. The Balladeer agreed to help me look for information about the Descenders, and although he was unsuccessful, he still helped you. Before he vanished, he confirmed an important detail. That Conria was where your twin first came into this world. We still don't know how the change to Irminsul will affect the senior ranks of the Fatui, but in all likelihood, they won't even remember their own Harbinger. It sounds like Paimon wouldn't like this guy a whole lot if he was still around, but still, Paimon doesn't like the way it all ended that much better. This is why wisdom alone cannot answer all our questions. We look, we see, and we comprehend, but the question still troubles us. So the answer is not everything. People yearn to find the truth and then conquer the troubles they face. When you give someone the truth, you give them a chance to choose their own destiny. To others looking on, this may seem like a pointless endeavor, but for him, the chance to act on his desire to disappear must have meant a lot. Never forget that even when we walk beneath dark clouds along a road filled with suffering, the light of wisdom is always there, guiding us toward a better destination. And that is what you have been doing all along. Yeah, Nahida's right. Cheer up! How about we go get something to eat? We can pick up this heavy conversation again later. Good idea. Paimon, why don't you take her out for a walk to clear her head? You got it! Come on, Traveler! You need to get out of your head for a while. You'll feel much better after taking a walk. Let's go get a snack from one of the stalls in the Grand Bazaar! That'll be sure to lift our spirits. It must be really tough being the only one who remembers all that, but Paimon's always here to help cheer you up.
What did you expect? I'd never lose to that.
There's the tone of voice again. You're definitely back to your old self. Wait, but it was you inside that thing too. What have you got to be smug about?
Sorry. I'm harsh on myself and everyone else. Just the way I am. You sound like you're concerned about me. But don't worry. Thanks to you, even if I didn't change a thing, at least I now know the truth.
The memory recovery seems to have been a success. This dream has served its purpose.
Come on. Let's continue this outside.
Welcome back, Traveler, Paimon, Balladeer. It feels like we just went on a really long journey. Paimon's exhausted. You don't like being addressed by that name?
It's fine. But I was just thinking, I should probably change it. After learning about everything the doctor did, there's no way I can carry on using a name connected to him. I'm not planning on returning to the Fatui, and they wouldn't take me back anyway. Recent events will have affected a lot of people, and they might not even remember who the sixth is.
So, you're quitting the Fatui for good?
It's like you said, Lesser Lord Kusanali. Everything may look futile, but it wasn't completely meaningless. At least I made a lot of people forget about me.
But that doesn't mean your own past has disappeared.
Of course.
And your main goal, for which you gave up everything you had, you weren't able to achieve it. I hope you can see and understand that. Changing the world, changing the past, changing the fates of other people, these are not simple things to accomplish. What you are looking for is complete annihilation. But this is just a fantasy. Even if the Balladeer is removed from existence, the world will not heed your will.
Indeed. How ridiculous.
Do you regret doing all that when you've gotten so little in return?
Even if I'm completely worthless, there's nothing in the world worth regretting. Lesser Lord Kusanali, you purposely left that information in Irminsul, didn't you?
Yes, and I took pains to make sure that you'd acquire that information naturally.
Why would you go to such lengths? You trying to win me over too?
In all honesty, your past experiences have made you a useful asset to Sumeru and to me. Winning you over was indeed a part of my plan. But before that, I wanted to tell you the truth about your past. If all I wanted to do was use you, then I'd be no different from the doctor.
Very clever.
I guess you could say that's one of my virtues.
Utility to others is what gives me worth. So if embracing my sins is what it takes to make me useful again, so be it. Oh right, I almost forgot. You're the good guys. You're into justice and all that. Sorry if I have a slightly different perspective on things, but I don't feel like I've been duped. The wisest leaders are fated to end up with the best helpers. I can live with that.
I'm glad you're able to think of it in that way. Traveler, in the future, I'll continue to search Irminsul more deeply and see what secrets can be uncovered, including the beginning of your twins' journey recorded in Irminsul. What exactly happened before and after that point? I want to know as well. I will try.
Traveler. After I dove into the information torrent in Irminsul, why did you go to Inazuma? So that's how you found out whose fate had changed. And how? Well, whatever your reasons, you did me a favor. And I'll do everything I can to pay it back. Borrowing and returning are the only real relationships between individuals. I'll balance the books one day. Don't you worry.
That's not true. A relationship between two people is not simply a ledger that can be reset to zero. I think deep down you realize this. People who show up in your life don't just evaporate like water drops and leave nothing behind. There is no such thing as balancing the books. Some things in this world can never be brought back, and they can never be changed, which is why there is emotion in the human world. Everything that you feel is real and lasting, and whatever is missing in you will not be made whole. To be human is to live with imperfections. You can choose whether or not you want to be human.
But humans can't live without a heart, can they? Anyway, I gave up trying to become a human a long time ago.
You understand what pain is perfectly well, even without a heart. You're just bearing your feelings. The past is set in stone, but you can keep moving on. And the longer your future lasts, the shorter your past will become, until one day, it is but a tiny fraction of your life.
Sounds like you've got a future planned out for me.
Everything's ended up being pretty darn complicated. Paimon doesn't even know where to start, but the most important thing now is that you need to follow Nahida. Otherwise, all our efforts will have been for nothing.
Then I guess I'll be helping you from behind the scenes from now on.
I'm glad that you've accepted our proposal. Why don't you choose a new name to celebrate? Ooh! Paimon wants to pick an ugly nickname for you, too!
Why?
Because Paimon still doesn't like you that much.
Then I hope we don't see much of each other in the future.
A name is life's first gift. You didn't say it out loud, but I know that's what you're thinking. The Traveler and Paimon have helped you a lot. If you can't decide on a new name, maybe you can ask them for ideas. No! Paimon only does nicknames! If it's a serious name you're after, it's all yours.
Have you got anything? Are you sure? Oh, alright. If you say so.
There. Now you have a name of your own.
What about a nickname? Are you done yet? Take your time. I don't need to see you again until you've thought of one. Everyone who manipulated me and made me suffer will have to pay the price.
You mean the Fatui?
The doctor, at least.
Now that your stance has changed, I believe your future path will change accordingly. But it won't be immediate. You still need some time to compose yourself.
One more thing. There are still some descendants of the Raiden Gokuden living in Inazuma. Some of them know. Well, they ought to know about the connection between Raiden Gokuden and myself. I don't plan to leave Sumeru for the time being. If you see them in Inazuma, please tell them that I was the one responsible for the Raiden Gokuden's downfall. Even though the events have been erased from the world, they still deserve to know the truth.
I see. That is up to you. Huh? But if we do that, then...
It's fine. Let them stab their blades into my chest if they so desire. Maybe that's how it always should have been. What's that look for? Don't face. I know what I'm doing. That day will come. Alright. We're done here. Goodbye, wise deity. And you too.
He's gone. What he went through today would have been like living an entire lifetime in an instant. He'll need some time to calm down. Yeah, true. But even so, after everything that's happened, he doesn't seem quite as fierce anymore. So we can finally go eat? Paimon is starving. Thank you both. I hope you will